Hello everyone, and welcome back to What If All 50 United States Gained Independence? And this is episode 2 of this series, and in the last episode we saw 3 things happening, or really 4 things happening. First, we saw Virginia declaring war and annexing West Virginia. We saw California become a huge aggressor state by taking Baja California and Nevada. And we saw the Oregon Territory, or Oregon Union, whatever you want to call it. And then we also saw NATO gaining more members like Virginia, Florida, Texas, the Oregon Territory, Alaska, Hawaii, Peru, Morocco, Jordan, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, India, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, Thailand. Let's see, Bosnia, Kosovo, Georgia, Azerbaijan. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that was all the new NATO members, and same with Australia and New Zealand. And in today's episode, we're gonna have something more than that. We're gonna have something bigger. And it's actually going to start with Canada. Like I said in the last episode, Canada wanted Alaska. However, the thing is, Canada and Alaska are both NATO members. And you know what happens when a NATO member and another NATO member go to war? Uh, Canada's basically expelled from NATO because they attacked one of their own members. So that gets you out of NATO. And now we're going to show the war. Alright, now that we have all of Canada colored, let's just color Alaska. And now that we have done that, it's time to put the capitals. Wait, let me just do that. Alright, now time for the capitals. Alaska has Junia, I think it's called. Junia, something like that. It's like right here. And then Canada has Ontario, or whatever this is, Toronto. Actually, that isn't Canada's capital, it's like right here. And now we will have the war. So pretty quickly, Canada will just burst into Alaska. Oh, let's get rid of that. Okay, so pretty quickly, Canada will just burst into Alaska, taking all this. Yeah, they just do that, and they easily storm to the capital. And then they start just making a lot of moves over here, because this is all just, this cold area. So they take the rest of the panhandle, and now, like, without any resistance, they can just burst through the right of Alaska. But they aren't surrendering without a final fight first, and they still have this major city over here. I think it's called Anchorage. Anchorage. So yeah, they're not giving up without a fight. Canada, they commit some atrocities here and there for some reason, and that lowers the morale of the Canadian people. Especially up in the north, up here in the Yukon Territory, or the Yukon Northwest Territories, whatever it's called. Nunavut. Then they keep pushing through here. eventually until Alaska just surrenders. So let's make the Treaty of Anchorage. Okay, in the Treaty of Anchorage, we just have Canada annexing the entirety of Alaska. So let me just lower this. And there you have it. We have a large Canada now annexing the entirety of Alaska. And this is really bad because now there's just this huge country. They're the second largest country. They got all the Alaska, like just all of it, the largest US state. And NATO is not too happy about this. And neither is Russia. But now that Canada is no longer in NATO, they can finally do something about this. So, yeah. But let's just not go to that right now. And let's focus on something else. So, over here we have Britain. And Britain as a NATO member is just scared of this new large Canada area. And so they're gonna do something about it. And what they're gonna do is they're going to go back to their colonial ways and declare war on 4 states: Delaware, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. So let me just color in Britain. And now this empire will go ahead and try to expand their empire even more. So let me just color in these 4 states over here. And now we will show you what will happen next. So they're going to send ships from all over the country. Let me just put the capitals. We have Boston, this area, right here, then right here. Okay, there we go. So they're gonna send ships from all over the country, from London, from Plymouth, from Cardiff. Let me fix that. Let's see, from Belfort, from over here, from here, even from these places in Scotland. But yeah, as you can tell, they are really serious about this. And so they set sail and they land their first amount of ships. Well, they're also gonna get something from Gibraltar. Alright, we've done that. And this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna go over here and they're going to make a pit stop in Bermuda, which is one of their territories. And they're going to split their navy all the way in 2 places. One is gonna go to the Delaware River, and the other one is going to Boston. However, this one isn't just gonna land directly in Boston. That's my idea. Right here. And now we're gonna show you what they do. So the British, they're gonna land over here in Massachusetts, And they're gonna start just like doing this weird technique of war that hasn't been used in like forever. However, it works pretty good, as you can see. And they also start doing this over here and over here. And eventually it's just all over this area. And then their ship finally lands over here, taking the coast of Connecticut. And then finally they land in Delaware and over here at the tip of the Delaware River. And now it just looks bad for everyone. However, it's not going to end here so easily, as Connecticut and this area keep getting more and more invaded, and eventually they just surrender. However, Massachusetts and Delaware do not surrender just yet, and Maryland will go ahead and join the war because they do not want Britain colonizing all of this. Also, I know this is part of Virginia, but don't worry, I'll get rid of it and give it back to Virginia soon. It's just a mapping error. So, anyways, Maryland, go ahead, my bad. Maryland's gonna go ahead and just save Delaware. And now the British are forced to retreat back, all the way back. British are forced to retreat back here. And now that they're saved, they're gonna go ahead and form a union together. Maryland, Delaware. And then they're gonna go ahead and leave the war. And then, Massachusetts just like decimates the British. And then the war ends in the Treaty of Boston. Here's what we're gonna have. Okay, anyways. Now in the Treaty of Boston, we have Maryland uniting with Delaware. We have Massachusetts. They're going to form a union as they're no longer colonized, but they're going to form a union with two other states, which are New Hampshire and Maine. They're forming this union to stop British colonialization in America, as they don't want a part two. And this is just like a New England union. Anyways, Connecticut and Rhode Island both fall to the British, and they are now a British colony. And similar to Maryland and New England, these three states over here, they're gonna decide to form a union. But they're actually for colonization instead of against it. And it's for the colonization of France to recolonize Louisiana. Why are they doing this? I have no idea. I guess it's just because they're weak and they want to be protected by like a way stronger nation. So yeah, they formed that union. And now we're going to have ethnic tensions in two states. And these are by natives. So over here in the Dakotas, they're actually going to form a union because a new pro-Native American government is set place in these two states, and they unionize for the two like siblings that rule the state. And then in these four states and this state right here, they're gonna have ethnic divisions. So let me just put it on a map. Oklahoma City. And here we have the divisions of the many states that, like the many Native American reserves that are right here. I don't know why I cannot talk today. I just like can barely talk. No, not that yet. So they're gonna like start taking parts of land that were once Native American and that now are just reservations. So yeah, start doing that. And this works really well. However, there's still one chunk that they need to take from Oklahoma. And so the war efforts are pushed farther and farther. And the Native Americans don't give up just yet. So, yeah, they take all of this from Oklahoma and they surround the army that's still right here. And since Oklahoma doesn't have a strong army, they're just gonna surrender this area. And now we're gonna have the Treaty of Tulsa, which is like right here, Tulsa. And in the treaty, we're going to have a new nation forming. And this nation will be a Native American nation just like this one. And it will be of the Cherokees, or Cherokees, I don't know how you say it. But yeah, it will now form, it is now independent, and there we go. And ethnic tensions in these four states for the large Native American community over here, they're gonna fight for their independence as well. So let me just do that real quick. However, it won't be like an ethnic like war. I'm messing things up. So instead, these four states are just gonna give independence right away. And I'm gonna draw that right now. And here is the new borders that have been made up. And right now, there's going to be one more thing happening. So this might look like a lot, but there's still one more thing going to be happening. And it's going to be sort of a big war. It will be Virginia again and North Carolina. and they're working together, this small coalition, to defeat. Oh wait, I made them blue. And they're going to be working together to defeat 3 states, as they're forming a coalition to have their old borders from when they were like colonies or stuff. So Virginia is going to be attacking Kentucky, and North Carolina is going to be attacking South Carolina and Tennessee. And since they're a little late to the party to get their counterparts, North Carolina is going to have more of a struggle. Anyways, let me put their things right here. So Richmond, I think this is Asheville, Frankfurt. Oh, this is like Raleigh, yeah. This is Columbus, I think. Then this is Nashville. So Virginia's gonna start invading over into this area, as it's really easy. There's not a lot of mountains, however. Going forth after this, there's gonna be like a lot more mountains, so they need to start like finding a way to get over these mountains. And they have a way. It's like going right here, and then they can just basically easily take over Kentucky. However, with North Carolina mainly focused over here, where South Carolina is, they're not really gonna have too much of a good fighting chance right here. So yeah, they start invading more and more, and it's pretty easy at first. However, as they get closer to the coast, it gets harder. So yeah, and then Tennessee gets the idea to invade North Carolina, and this does pretty good. So yeah, they're kind of struggling, and then they actually like do a lot of damage to North Carolina, and they're like splitting up everything, and this is really bad for them. So yeah, they gotta start picking up the pace in South Carolina. They aren't gonna do anything good, and they almost actually get to North Carolina's coast, would be like endangering to their everything. Cause like the coast is really important for North Carolina as well. So quickly they start picking up the pace over here, South Carolina, and eventually they just surrender. And then they send all of their army to push out all of this right here. So thankfully they stopped Tennessee, and now they're back on the Tennessee front, and they're quickly pushing back. And now the pace can be picked up in this war as they start going across the border, and they start pushing up over here. And that's really helpful for Virginia, who can now just do all of this. And now with the mountains out of the way, they can just easily take over Kentucky. So yeah, Kentucky is just not in a good shape. And then they push through more of this area, and easily they push through these 2 states. And now this is really all that's left, and then they start making a move towards Nashville. Does pretty good. And now there's only just like this one mountain area left and these 2 capitals, and then the war is basically over. So yeah, Kentucky basically just surrenders. And Nashville, as the only country left, still picks up a pretty good fight. And then the mountains over here are taken over. And then Nashville. That's the end of the war. And then the Treaty of, let's see, we'll do the Treaty of Virginia Beach. Yeah, let's do that. So right here, we're going to have Virginia annexing Kentucky, and then of course North Carolina is gonna annex Tennessee and South Carolina. And there we go. And of course I need to give back this area. Okay, there we go. Is that right? Let me check. So it turns out that Panhandle is actually way bigger. So let me just... There we go, is that good? Let me fix it. There we go. So there we have Virginia's Panhandle. And now about the U.S. territories. We have Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands. We have American Samoa. Then we go over here. We have Guam, the North Mariana Islands. And then we have some like federated areas like Micronesia, but we don't care about that. So these areas, they have also gained independence, if you don't know. As well as DC, which is like right here. So what about those areas? They have also gained independence, so what's gonna happen to them? I have no idea. Maybe they're gonna join NATO, maybe they're gonna like, form an empire as well. Maybe Puerto Rico and US Virgin Islands, they will unite, and then they'll just take over the entire Caribbean. That would be pretty funny. And then, like, Samoa can take over Northern Samoa. Or no, not North Samoa, American Samoa. The North Mariana Islands, they can unite and try to make like a Pacific Empire. Like of this. With these small islands. With other US small territories. Or Japan could just like take over them or whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's going to be it for today's episode. And if you liked it, please consider subscribing. And give us suggestions, we need suggestions. So please consider subscribing, give suggestions. And one more thing before we leave. China, over here, has just became the strongest country in the world. Like now it's past Russia. Let me color in China. So yeah. China has just literally become the strongest country in the entire world. And thanks to that, they have influence over many countries, including even some in the United States, like California, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, this area, this area, this area, this area, even Panama. So yeah, it just is not good for the US, as China has influence over these countries. And you know what this means? Yeah, it's not really good for these states. China has influence over the entire thing here. And even in these continents, just like everywhere, it's just all China, 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 China. So it won't be good for the US or NATO anytime soon. So, yeah. Whoops.